Good day, good people. My name is Kabusekwele and I am an online math tutor here to help young children turn their struggles into their successes. For you to know that you are good at something, you need to be able to do it yourself, or at least with very, very little assistance. But for you to know whether you're a master at something is if you're able to teach it to someone else and they understand it. So today we're going to discuss how your child can get to the first stage, how they can become independent in mathematics. So first of all, by being independent, your child would have little to no need for a math teacher. In my opinion, and please share below what you believe and what you think, but in my opinion, teachers, especially in those higher grades, cannot be held accountable if their students are not doing well. Because at that stage, their students should be able to do math independently. It's a requirement. There's a reason why university and college teachers are so relaxed when it comes to teaching students. It's because they realize that it's the student's responsibility to do well. In fact, they should want to be independent because it's their grades on the line, it's their future on the line, and they cannot expect to do well if they depend on someone who has 20 or 30 other students to worry about. It's simply not possible. The only students that do well are the ones that use teachers as a guide. So how can your child get to this point? They need to learn how to teach themselves mathematics. For example, let's say your child has an issue with percentages. They struggle to understand it, they struggle to solve problems in percentages. They will then have to sit down and teach themselves percentages. Now, to do this, they need to be able to understand the what, the how, and the why of percentages. So let's start with the what. This is the part of mathematics I like to call math theory. Your child needs to start off by understanding what a percentage is. So they'll need to sit there and do research and find the meaning to this keyword, percentage. Once they've done all that reading and all that research, they then need to be able to accurately explain the meaning of the word percentage. The definition must make sense and it must be accurate. But now you may ask yourself, how will your child know if their understanding is accurate? The beauty about mathematics is that the theoretical part of math and the practical part of math is one. In fact, the practical side of mathematics is the theory of math brought to life. It's the application of the theory. Practical side of math exists because of the theoretical side. So once your child starts to apply their understanding of percentages in a practical way, in other words, once they start trying to solve percentage problems and it's not working, in other words, maybe they're not getting their answers right or they don't know how to solve certain problems, then that is an indication that there is a gap in their understanding, which means they will need to go back and figure out what they missed during their reading and research stage. So it's through the application of their understanding that they will figure out if they understand it correctly. So yes, that's what your child needs to start off with, the what, the theory. Once they figure that part out, then they can move on to the how. Now, this is the part of mathematics I like to say is the practical side of math. This is where your child needs to solve problems that are related to percentages. So your child will be given a problem and they need to figure out how to solve this problem. They need to do research and try and understand what are the different methods that can be used to solve this problem. So the power of starting with the what, the math theory, is that many times, because they understand what they are working with, it is much easier to figure out how to solve the problems. So for example, let's say your child needs to figure out the percentage of a number. That means your child needs to figure out what it means to find the percentage of a number. Also, the steps that are involved in finding the percentage of a number. Notice that they need to understand what they are doing first before they can figure out the steps that are involved. Understanding is a very big part of mathematics. It goes back to the first part, the first stage of them teaching themselves, which is finding out the what of percentages. It's all about theory and understanding. So before your child figures out the steps that are involved, they need to understand what they're doing in the first place. In order for them to figure out the steps that are necessary to solve a problem, they still need to do some research, either in their textbooks or on the internet or other books, just any source of information that can give them a method that they can use to solve this problem. Keep in mind that there's many ways to solve one specific math problem. There's not just one specific method. So your child needs to use the one that makes the most sense to them. Now keep in mind, I'm not saying the easiest method. I'm saying the method that makes the most sense to them. In other words, the method that they understand. The method that they can sit down and say, okay, this is where this step comes from. This is why I'm doing this step. So once they've found a method that makes sense to them, they now need to move on to the why of math, or the why of percentages. They need to ask themselves, what is the reason for each and every step that is in this method? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What is the purpose of this step? Where's the logic in this method? They need to be able to track the math principles that are the basis for each of the steps in this method. But I must warn you that this is not easy. Finding the why behind steps in math methods is quite difficult in many instances, but it is one of the best things that your child can do in their efforts to be independent in math. See, the information that they find when they're asking, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? That information would be adding to their bank of math principles, their bank of math facts, which is something that each and every child needs to have in order to do well in mathematics. It forms a part of their math theory. Knowing these things automatically makes them so much better in mathematics. Now, if you as a parent want to see how I figure out the steps behind a particular technique or a method that is taught in class or a trick, you can go ahead to one of my videos. In there, I literally break down each and every step that is in a particular math trick. So go ahead and check out that video and see how you can help your child do the same thing. Teach them how to do that for themselves. I also have a video that explains how I study mathematics, how I figure out the what behind each and every part of mathematics, not just percentages but fractions, and shares what helped me become independent in mathematics. That video essentially just shows you how I figure out the what of a certain part of mathematics. But parents, in summary, being independent in math is a requirement, and to do that your child needs to be able to teach themselves mathematics. What should they teach themselves? They need to teach themselves the what of math, the how of math, but even more so the why of math. Once they can tick those boxes, they are on the path to math independence. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helped. All of the videos that I mentioned in this particular video will be linked down in the description box below. I will also link them up in the end cards. If you are interested in finding a math tutor for your child, please go to my website and schedule a free consultation with me. The link to that is also down in the description. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.